Okay, this is a reaction video. This is from Diane Jennings. I've done 2 of her videos. 10 things you should never do as a visitor to America. Now, I've kind of gotten into the habit of doing some of these videos, but I'm going to move to other things eventually. But I'm kind of curious to see what you should never do as a visitor to America, or what you think, you people who don't live in the United States think, I'm assuming she's talking about the United States, that you should never do as a visitor to America. But like I said, please click like and subscribe for her, and please click like and subscribe for me, and let's see what this is about.
But they're so cute with the little hands and the
I have no idea what she's trying to do here.
little hands. Okay. Oh, okay. Do people do that? Ew, ew, ew. Irish people don't do it so much. Spanish people.
I don't know what the hell she's talking about right now. For all I know, it could be washing, everything from washing hands to, you know, using the bath. I have no clue what she's talking about.
You just don't do, that's just common sense, right? In any country. So today I want to check out a talking point over on Reddit that is called, if visiting America, what is something that a person should never do? If you've never seen me before in your life, my name is Diane. Sometimes I live in Ireland, sometimes I live in Spain. I'm from Ireland and I like to visit America, the America, and maybe Canada. Around here we like to keep things weird and talk about the more quirky, unusual things, not the things that everybody talks about.
Like, share, comment, subscribe, or your face will fall off. She forgot to do it, so.
Well, like, share, and subscribe, but I don't think your face is going to fall off.
Okay, the first thing somebody says is don't get into an empty subway car.
Now, I've gotten into several empty subway cars and had no trouble with that. Now, I'm not in New York City very often. I've been to Chicago. I've ridden the L. I've ridden the subway or the train system that they have out in Los Angeles, and also in D.C. I've been in an empty subway car, but I've never had any trouble with that.
I'm going to guess that's in New York. That is literally the first thing I would do, get into an empty subway car. I hate people. I like people I know, but I don't like people I don't like strangers.
Stranger danger!
So if I saw a subway car that's pretty empty, I'm probably going to go in that one because, yay, no people. Why shouldn't you go in the empty one? There will be a reason it's empty. Likely someone
Okay, they're trying to say that somebody did something wrong and there it hasn't been cleaned up yet. But that's not always the case. Sometimes it's just empty because of the time of day. Sometimes it's, if we're talking rush hour and there's an empty subway car and nobody's getting into it, there's your answer, okay? But if we're just talking like you're in the middle of the day or something like that, or even at night heading home when there's hardly anybody out and there's an empty subway car, you can get in that.
Likely somebody did something on the floor or threw up or something. Oh, okay. Do people do that? Ew, ew, ew. I feel like I might still take my chances, though I really don't like people I don't know. Next we have don't think the laws are the same everywhere. That is a tricky one as a person from Europe. It is really hard to get your head around every state having different laws. Is there federal law? I think there is federal law, so some laws are the same throughout the...
I've seen this brought up before in other videos that I've done. When you talk about different laws in different states, it's like, it's common sense things, okay? It's not like I walked into a place and it said, please don't spit on the floor, so I jumped up and spit on the ceiling kind of thing. It's like there are certain things that you can do and certain things that you can't do. I don't need a manual that tells me when I go to Indiana or down to West Virginia, this is what I can and can't do. It's just really common sense kind of things that you can and can't do. And I think most of it deals with things that you can buy or sell versus other things. But yeah, it's just common sense.
The United States of America, correct? But then there are state laws also. What are the laws that are federal and what are the laws that are state? I'm thinking like federal laws.
That would be an ecumenical matter. Yes, I suppose it would.
And excuse me for dipping into my Irish Catholicism here, but are they like, thou shalt not kill, thou...
Murder is a state charge, but something like I mean, if you ever saw the movie Mississippi Burning, murder is a state charge, but violation of civil rights is a federal charge. And if you're in that circumstance, they didn't want to get him into state court because state court would have found him innocent or wouldn't have prosecuted or suspended the sentence. In federal court, that's where you wanted to get him.
Thou shalt not, but you can covet thy neighbor's wife. That's not illegal. It should be illegal, I feel.
Pipes they are played on both their houses.
What laws are state and what laws are, am I using the right term? Federal. What are they? Next up, if pulled over by cops, do not exit the vehicle unless they ask you to. Okay, I have learned.
Yeah, that's one thing. If the cop pulls you over, just sit in your car. I mean, it's for speeding or something like that. Just sit in your car and, have your license or whatever you have and your registration and proof of insurance, everything you have, just give it to the police officer while sitting in your car. If you get it, try and get out. I'm not saying all police officers have itchy trigger fingers, but they're probably going to pull their gun on you because they're not going to take any chances. But just sit there and give them the information that they need. Don't get out of the car unless asked to.
Through media that you really do have to be careful about doing all the right things around cops. In Ireland, we have the Garda Síochána. They're generally quite friendly people, but I do think in recent years they may need to bring some intimidation tactics in. A lot of the youths are taking the piss out of the Gardaí. They are just not afraid. And also that we recently brought in these new uniforms for the Gardaí and they are laughable. Irish guards generally do a pretty good job of de-escalating situations. I largely applaud them, but I do think a little touch of intimidation would be good, especially for young people. In contrast, here in Spain is the Guardia Civil, and they are terrifying. I was about to say costumes, their uniforms are freaking awesome. They look very, very cool. And you do get the feeling if you did something terrible, they would take you into a cell and...
Very bad. Very, very, very bad. Bad.
That's a good one, if pulled over by...
In Germany, the police protection was, I thought, very, very good and very, very adequate. And yeah, they looked very intimidating to me too. I didn't want to mess with them. I didn't go to Germany to commit crimes or to take, as you said, take the piss out of the local law enforcement there. The Germans looked like they had everything well in hand.
The cops do not exit the vehicle until they ask you to. Also, I've heard 10 and 2 is a thing as a non-driver.
And the only time they're going to really ask you to exit the vehicle is if they think you're drunk. And they're going to test you that way. They'll probably even ask you if you had anything to drink, especially at night. But for the most part, just stay where you're at and just do what they ask you to, and everything should be fine.
It's 10 and 2, right? 10 and 2. That's like pretty much a thing everywhere. Keep your hands on the dashboard. Although in Ireland, yeah, it would be very much like, oh, hey, I know your dad. Ireland is super small, so yeah. Do not piss off the customs officer. That's just good general advice.
I think that's a global thing. If I'm going into a country, I'm the first impression I want to make, and like I said, when I went into Germany, when I crossed into Canada, I wanted to leave a good impression that I'm a friendly person. And once we do what needs to be done, I'm on my way. They don't have anything to worry about. I think that's a global thing. If I ever go to any country, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm not going to piss off the customs officer.
I think a lot of people in the past may have been more jovial. That is not the place to have a funny sense of humor. You don't do it with customs officers. Don't joke about having in your suitcase or anything. You just don't do, that's just common sense, right? In any country. When I do go through customs in the United States, it can be quite an intimidating thing. Like, they are so trying to trip you up. In contrast to customs officers in Ireland, there's a very famous thing in Ireland to skip up the queue.
I've been to Tijuana before, and Tijuana is a border town. and it is I don't want to insult the people of Tijuana, but it is not a very nice place. It is not a place you take your family. I can see corruption as being a big thing in Tijuana. Yeah, in Tijuana, yes. Bribe them all day long. Pay your bribes or do what you find you do not want to be stuck in Tijuana. That I can assure you.
Because the queue was like hours and hours and hours long, and I think it was a police officer in Mexico who came down to us in the queue and asked for like money to skip us to the top. We just weren't going to argue with a police officer, you know.
Now we're talking about a queue just to get out of there, but when I talk about Tijuana, you don't want to be stuck down there. Okay, $20 just to get to the front of the line, yeah, fine, but yeah, like I said, Tijuana is a very, very rough area and not one of the nicest places that I can recall. So never want to get stuck in Tijuana. And if I had to pay $20 just to get out of Tijuana faster, I'm paying that $20.
I don't know if what I did was completely illegal, but I hadn't even started college, so I was a kid.
It doesn't matter right now. If you paid $20 to get out of Tijuana, good on you.
Don't stare and eyeball people unless you are doing some kind of official business like buying something. Interesting.
Now that's something I've never really eyeballed anybody, but I don't know that if I actually sat there and start staring at somebody, if I start staring at a girl, maybe her boyfriend might get up and have a problem with it, but you don't do a lot of that in the United States. That's something you generally, you look around, you see things, but you don't eyeball people. I guess that's what they're talking about. Because like I said, if you're looking at, if I look at a guy and I just stare at him like that, he might get him ticked off and want to get out and want to fight. But generally, nobody does that in the United States that I've ever seen.
Okay, I have noticed certain Europeans do stare. It's specific to countries. Irish people don't do it so much. Spanish people do stare. Italian people stare. German people stare. But American people very much value their personal space, and anything that's like super tactile with a person you don't know in America is kind of frowned upon. They will talk you to death in America, which is, I think, a lovely trait. I love that American people like just talk to complete strangers. I think it's really nice, but they don't like to be just...
Americans do like to talk.
Randomly touched or gone into their personal space, which I respect.
Americans like to talk loud, and Americans like to be heard, and Americans can be quite annoying sometimes. But in my experience, and I've experienced that from the British as well, from the English as well. But like I said, I'm not sure that's the same for all Brits. I never been to England. I need to go there and find out myself. But I've noticed that when I've been around English people, that they like to let themselves be heard as well.
I'm not a fan of humans. Don't cut in line. We hate that. Okay.
Yeah, that's a big one. Now, if I'm standing in line and I'm waiting, and I have a friend who's went off to use the restroom, and he comes back and stands next to me, that's perfectly fine. Nobody has a problem with that. But if you're standing in line and you're going, waiting to get to the counter to make an order or something like that, and somebody just walks right in there and just stands in front of you and cuts the line, that's very frowned upon. You don't get a whole lot of that in the United States. I don't see a whole lot of people do that, but yeah, do not cut in line.
That is also very interesting. A personal pet peeve of mine is people side queuing. People, when you're in a queue, in a line, everyone knows a line is like one person behind the other. If somebody comes up and stands beside me, that is the most annoying thing. And then I will shuffle forward and they will shuffle forward with me. No, we are in a queue. Here in Spain, and I believe in Italy, queues are less of a thing. Now, don't take it extreme. If you go to the supermarket, there are queues. People generally respect the queues. But if you're in something like a market, it's very much like whoever gets seen gets served. Same thing in a bar. You've got to be seen. The queue is not a thing. Don't forget to put eggs and milk in the fridge. Ooh, yeah.
I've actually been talked to by people from England about this, that they don't keep their eggs and milk in maybe their eggs. I don't know so much the milk. But I've seen about the eggs, that the eggs are kept out. And again, that's fine. That's your business, and things are done a little bit differently in the United States about that. But I have heard about that. Anyway, it's not homogenization. Just know that the way we process them makes much like Americans, spoiled without air conditioning. Well, we're not. Are we spoiled with air conditioning? I mean, come on, people.
I personally store my eggs and milk in the fridge. Actually, everyone's
When it's hotter than hell and you're sweating your rear end off, well, air conditioning is a very nice thing to have.
stores milk in the fridge. We all store milk in the fridge in Europe, unless it's UHT milk. But eggs you don't have to store in the fridge because they're pasteurized differently or something. But yeah, that's a good point. Not to remember to put them in the fridge. And finally, raccoons are cute, but from a distance.
Raccoons are not cute, and they are absolutely horrendous creatures. And if you see one, walk the other way. They are absolutely disgusting creatures. And I remember my brother had a situation where a raccoon had gotten into his basement and was pretty much getting ready to nest there with its youngins. And he called a varmint control center and said, they said it's $100 or something like that to come out there that night to get this taken care of, 100, 150, whatever it was. And his girlfriend at the time, now his wife, said, do it, pay it, get rid of it. And this guy came in with a cage and got the thing. But yeah, raccoons are not cute at all. Close up, from a distance, whatever. They're nasty creatures. And you just don't mess with them.
I only recently discovered that we don't have raccoons throughout Europe, and then it occurred to me, I've seen so many memes of raccoons. They're so freaking cute. Why have I never seen one? Why do I not have a trash panda? Apparently, they're like super not desired here in Europe. But they're so cute with the little hands and the little hands. They're like Chewy, but with little hands. Why are they cute from a distance? I'm gonna guess, is this because they like cause dirt and chaos in general?
Look, live and let live. I don't guess, but I noticed I didn't say grab a gun and shoot it. Just stay your distance from them.
That was super interesting. I particularly enjoy the things I have never come across before. That's always my favorite kind of stuff. Let me know below in comments if you think there's something that I, as a tourist, would not necessarily be familiar with unless I knew America very well. Shout out today to a couple of very special people.
The first shout out goes to Ricky, who is looking very slicky in his cap. I don't know why I'm so lame, sorry.
Okay, I guess this is the end of the video. She's going to have some things there, which I'm not going to look over. But yeah, I mean, look, when you come to the United States, have common sense. And the only thing I've always recommended, what I recommend, New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, yes, that is in the United States. But if you want to visit the United States or look at, I would go to Kansas City, Columbus, Ohio, Buffalo, New York, Charlotte, North Carolina, Atlanta, Melbourne, Florida, most of Texas, Dallas, Houston, especially San Antonio. There's a whole lot of things. Like I went out, and most people know this from my other videos. I went out to Montana, Wyoming, and South Dakota, and saw that part of the United States. Such gorgeous scenery. So if you come to the United States, let's keep in mind, apart from what she said in this video, just come and enjoy yourself and use common sense. Okay, if you don't know, ask. Don't kill anybody, don't rape anybody, don't shoot anybody, don't rob anybody. Use common sense. The same things you pretty much can do over where you are is pretty much the same in the United States. Okay, I said just use common sense and you'll be fine. But please click share and like for watching this video for me, and also for her as well, for Diane Jennings. But please click share and like. I guess your face is going to fall off if you don't. But yeah, this was a good video. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.